Have you ever sat in front of a blank page, stared at your screen, or tried to come up with an idea only to find that your brain feels completely empty? Yeah, me too. In fact, I think we've all been there, right? We've all had moments where the pressure to come up with an idea, anything, from doing a project to school, to writing an article for the show far, to think of a speech to do in front of people, to so many things, feels overwhelming. The harder we try, the more it feels like the ideas are slipping further and further away. But here's the kicker. This experience isn't just a small hurdle. It's something that can shake us to our core, especially in environments where we're expected to be creative or innovative. I'm here today to talk about that exact feeling, the pressure to have ideas and the frustration of feeling blocked, and how it's not only normal, but how we can begin to navigate and work with it. Let's talk about the pressure. It's everywhere. Think about your work, your school, your social media feed, or even at home. Someone somewhere is expecting you to come up with an idea. Sometimes the pressure is real, and sometimes it's self-imposed. We live in a world that glorifies content output, new ideas, better solutions, faster results. But here's the thing. When we feel like we have to come up with an idea, especially when the clock is ticking or an idea is waiting, it often has the opposite effect. Instead of unlocking creativity, pressure locks us down. We freeze. The harder we push, the emptier our minds seem to get. And it's not just you or me. This is a very human experience. You've heard of writer's block, right? It's a real phenomenon that affects people from novelists to business leaders. And it doesn't just happen when you're writing it. It can strike in meetings, during brainstorming sessions, in creative spaces, and even in casual conversations. We think we need ideas the exact moment we're being asked for them, but the mind doesn't work like that. Creativity doesn't operate on demand, no matter how hard we try. I would like to move on to my first concept, the myth of eureka moment. We've been conditioned to think of creativity as this magical process, one minute you're stuck, and the next, bam, you have an idea. That moment of sudden clarity, like a light bulb turning on above your head, is something we idolize. But the truth is, those moments are rare, and the pressure we put on ourselves to create those moments often makes them even more elusive. Now, I'm not saying those aha moments don't exist. They do, but they rarely come when we expect them. They often come when we're not looking. They come after we walk away, after we relax, after we've given ourselves the permission to not have an answer right now. It's in those moments where we're distracted or at ease that ideas can emerge more naturally. So, what if we stop seeing the pressure as a necessary part of the process? What if we stop viewing it as the thing that pushes us to create? So, what happens when we embrace the non-idea zone? I know, that sounds counterintuitive. After all, we all need to get things done. There are deadlines, people counting on us, but here's the secret. Sometimes the best ideas come from giving yourself the freedom to not have an idea at all. Think of it this way. The brain is like a muscle. If you try to push a muscle when it's tired, you won't get good results. Similarly, when you're mentally drained, trying to come up with an idea can feel like running on empty. Instead of helping develop more creativity, it can drain your energy, your confidence, and your motivation. So, what do we do when the pressure is on but the ideas aren't coming? We step back and we embrace the non-idea zone. Give ourselves permission to be okay with not having an answer right now. You might think that sounds like giving up, but really, it's an act of trust. Trusting that when the pressure leaves, the ideas will eventually follow. For example, for this talk, I had many ideas, but none of them were the idea. I even wrote a whole talk on another topic, but it just didn't convince me enough. Finally, speaking with my mentor, she told me, what if you write about not having ideas? And that's when inspiration finally struck. My last point is about how to overcome pressure. The key here is to stop viewing pressure as something to be feared or avoided. Instead, we can start seeing it as a signal, a reminder that we care about the outcome and the results, that we want to do our best. But that doesn't mean pressure should dictate how we approach work. We can choose to approach pressure with curiosity instead of panic. Curiosity asks, what might happen if I let go of the need for an immediate answer? Panic says, if I don't have an answer right now, I'll fail. Curiosity opens the door for new possibilities. Panic shuts it before we can even try. So, the next time you find yourself sitting in front of a blank page, don't panic. Don't force it. Take a step back and give yourself space. Remember that it's okay to not have ideas instantly or on demand. Creativity isn't a switch that you can turn on and off at will. The pressure to have ideas, to be productive, and to create something amazing can be overwhelming. But in those moments, we can choose to embrace the blank space, because sometimes nothing is the beginning of everything. Muchas gracias.